What's going on, guys? So we are on our way to Panama City, Florida with some relief supplies, some generators and other equipment. We are currently outside of Houston, actually coming into Beaumont, Texas here real soon. Have about, I'm guessing about 8 more hours worth of driving to go. And we don't really know what the condition of I-10 is going to be coming into Panama City. So if you're familiar with the area, we're going to go up to Highway 77 and take it down because from what I'm told, Highway 231, which is typically the route you would go, is completely decimated with debris. So we're going to take a little bit different route. Still have quite a ways to travel, and traffic on I-10 between Houston and Lake Charles is pretty horrible. Then once you get into Louisiana just doesn't really understand that people like smooth roads, so they put expansion joints over their swamps on their overpasses, and it is incredibly rough. So we have enough weight in the back of the truck right now that I don't think it's really going to impact us too much, but it's definitely not going to be a smooth ride. So I'll check back in with you guys when we get a little bit closer. About to eat some breakfast. What's going on, guys? I just had to mention that we're driving through, I guess, leaving Beaumont, and this Toyota, what is it, an FJ Cruiser? Yeah. Pulls up next to us, and this lady in the driver's seat just starts waving at us and flashing her lights, and she pulls up right next to us and she's signaling me to pull over. And at first I'm thinking it might be somebody who watches the channel, but we pull over in a safe area, and she gets right behind us and comes running up to the truck and hands us, what is this, $60? 320s. Basically says that she sees that we're going to Florida. She wanted to help. She couldn't make it there herself. She said that she used to do disaster response as well, and she wanted to help out however she could. I wasn't able to get her name, but definitely appreciate that. That's pretty amazing to see people open up their hearts and help like that. Guys, I always tell you about Louisiana roads, and they are horrible. I absolutely do not know why I-10 doesn't get repaved. So we are right outside of Baton Rouge. Kind of see on the road here where it looks like that they've added some fillers between the expansion joints, because it sure is a heck of a lot smoother than it's ever been in my memory. Here's a look out the side at this huge swamp in Louisiana. I'm sure those who are local to the area, travel through here, know exactly where I'm talking about. But this is all swampland. There's a really long bridge too. So we have just entered Mobile, Alabama, but we are about to go underneath the channel. So we just entered the state of Florida, and we are going to take I-10 through Pensacola. We're going to top off our fuel tank in Pensacola. Then we're going to head over to Chipley, which is on I-10, and see if there's any diesel fuel stations that are available there, just so we know if they're out of stock. We've tried calling them, and they'll ring, and no one answers, but other businesses do answer, so apparently they do have some power, but I don't know if they have any fuel. So we're just going to take the precaution of topping off in Pensacola and then keeping an eye out along I-10 on what's open in terms of fuel stations. Once we get to Chipley, that's on Highway 77. We're going to take that south into Panama City, because typically the route you would go is either you would follow Highway 98 on the beach and go through Panama City Beach, but because of damage, that might not be feasible. And then Highway 231, which comes from I-10 down into Panama City, but I've also heard a lot of issues with traveling that route. So basically the goal is to hit Highway 77, travel south from there. It says we're about 124 miles away at this point, which is actually a little off. I believe we're probably closer to about 140 miles away. So we are currently about 10 miles north of Panama City. There's still absolutely no power out here at all. We are driving down Highway 77 for those of you who know the area or want to be able to kind of follow it on a map. And we're in the process of going through, I believe we're going through Southport. And as you can see, it is really bad. We've passed these large groups of trees just where everything was completely snapped off. You can see pieces of roof and shingles stuck on the top. Look at this traffic light right here. It's completely in the wrong position to where it normally would be. Look at the trees over here on the left. Massive trees just toppled over. When they say it's like a war zone here, honestly, it's like a Category 4 or 5 hurricane went through. Exactly what happened. It's really tragic, to be honest with you guys. Look over here on the left, you can see that storage building. It's completely obliterated. One thing you'll notice, and I can't really tell if you can see it from the video, but all the trees are pushed at the angle of the wind. So even if they weren't broken down or debarked completely, take a look at this truck. Telephone poles that are half bent. It's just utterly devastating out here. It's crazy because they really haven't had much of a chance to clean up any of this except to get it off of the roads itself so you can traverse the roads. You'll see this ambulance passing by us right now. All you see throughout the city is chains of ambulance convoys leaving. 5 or 6, 7 ambulances at a time. Check out what's coming here on the left. And I really don't know what's going on. I don't know what's taking place with some of this stuff, but there are a lot of first responders and emergency personnel that are rushing to get to different places. We're now entering Lynn Haven. Got another truck here with several generators in the back. Now, Lynn Haven was one of the hardest hit communities as well. And I think that's going to be pretty obvious as we drive through. For those of you who evacuated and you're kind of using this as the ability to see what took place, it's pretty bad. You know, there are some buildings that don't look like they were really impacted at all, but then there's other buildings that were utterly destroyed. We're going to keep driving through here. Down power wires everywhere. There's a curfew also in effect that takes place from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And we're actually on our way to a relief station right now to drop off some equipment. And such a, man, that is just... I mean, some of these trees have been here forever. They help define the character of this community, and they're all gone. I mean, this is very reminiscent of Hurricane Andrew when it hit, you know, the central part of Florida, and I don't know how you rebuild from this. And I know they will, because, you know, every community essentially rebuilds from these storms and is able to move on eventually. And generally you see stricter building codes. You don't really see wood-built homes anymore. You see cinder block and steel constructed homes. But, you know, this is people's lives that have been completely uprooted and destroyed, and it's just heartbreaking to see a lot of this. You see these first responders who are out here, and many of them lost their own homes. If you go on the radio stations, they've all partnered together to relay critical information, such as where to get food if you need food, and where to get supplies if you need them. They're already starting to dig up the utilities to replace some of the mains that were broken and ruptured. And to think this is only 2 days after the storm hit. I'm going to try to go around some of this debris. at all these folks. They're just walking in between down power lines. Look at this clothing store completely obliterated. This is just really, really sad. I'm currently traveling down Highway 77. The utility crews have flooded in just like they did during Harvey. You just saw the support pouring in, and as you can see here, many of them are staging at this super Walmart that is to the left, and they're already out there in the field working on trying to restore power. But it's one of those things that's very difficult because you have to make sure that you do it the right way, because with this much infrastructure completely destroyed, you have the huge risk of lighting things up before the connections have been fully made, tested, and the last thing you want to do is provide power to an area just to see you end up electrocuting or hurting people or causing fires in dwellings and things like that. Man, look at these apartments on the left, just destroyed. And a lot of reporters stayed in some of these hotels, and I'm actually surprised how some of them fared. But this one over here, I don't know if you can see the wind gate way off on the extreme right. The whole roof is completely gone. Cars that are completely covered in debris. There's a big law enforcement presence that we're coming up to right here. Baldwin is actually where we need to turn. So that dot in the center of the screen you're looking at is actually the moon. It is pitch black out here in Panama City. I am at actually my brother's house. Unfortunately, they lost quite a bit of structure to their house. Let me turn the light on here so you can just see how dark it is. It is literally and utterly pitch black out here. So we're staying at my brother's house right now because it's pretty much intact, but this is what his kitchen looks like. Basically started peeling the roof off the house while they were here. They took shelter in the bathtub with their daughter, my niece. This is just one piece. This is what their backyard looks like. Sorry guys, I didn't get much sleep last night and it's been really stressful. But just to show you what some of the damage looks like, you can see the front of this house doesn't look too bad. But then you make your way around to the back and you can see that the house is pretty much destroyed. Guys, something to share with you all is I was very hesitant to actually film this area just because this is very personal to a lot of people, but you'd be surprised at the folks who said I really need to film it so people can see what's happened. Like, take a look at this house. You can see this enormous tree that was uprooted and collapsed right on top of the house. And to get a scale of just how big this is, it's taller than me. My brother's house fared relatively well. You can see some more damage up here where the roof is separated. There's more on the back. You can see areas across here. The entire bedroom right here caved in. I don't know if you can see, but the whole roof collapsed in on the inside, so it's completely full of debris. The car, of course, got damaged pretty bad. Pieces of his roof. We're about to take off in a minute. He's actually gonna come with us and help us with some relief efforts. This is an area where the ceiling caved in. Okay, we just got back to the house, had a quick breakfast. We're gonna go back out again. We've moved several things out of the road. It's kind of the big thing to get roads clear. Dropped off a lot of supplies, and we've helped kind of logistically move some things from one place to another to make it a little bit better. We're gonna be taking off here in a little bit to go back out. There's a tree that fell on a home, and it's kind of cutting off a usable section of the home from another section, so we're gonna try to move it out of the way. But guys, I'm not sure how much more recording I'm gonna do. It's intense being out here. It's definitely something that impacts you pretty hard when you see it all in person and you kind of see the plight that a lot of people are going through. I'll try to do a little bit more filming, but I'm probably not going to do a lot more narrating with it. Anyways, guys, I just want to say that, you know, seeing people help each other out here, what they've been doing for each other is really amazing. And they'll make it through this. You know, Rockport made it through, Port Aransas made it through. Now Panama City, Florida will make it through. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later.